Method feeder fishing and hybrid feeder fishing are one of the most common ways of fishing nowadays. But there's one thing that's really important, and that's the preparation of that feeder. The way you put your bait and your hook bait into that is what it's all about. You can have fancy rods, fancy reels, fancy lines, fancy everything. You can do whatever you want, but if you don't load this right, you will not catch a fish. It's really important. So what I'm going to show you the different ways to do it. So first of all, this is a hybrid feeder, and all I'm going to do, I'm going to put a few micros in. These micros have been softened up, they're nice and soft, and what I want to do, when I press that gently, I want it either just inside that lip or just level with it. And the next thing I do, I'm going to get the hook bait, and I'm going to first of all, I'm going to get the hook, and I'm going to put the hook into the pellets like that. The simple reason for that is I want it to stop where I want it. I'm doing everything I can to make sure that hook bait does not leave that feeder until it's in the bottom and the pellets are swollen up. So that's in the middle now. I position that in the position that I want. I then get a few more pellets, because what most people do, they like their bait on the top where they can see it. But I believe when it hits the water it comes off. I want my hook bait inside the pellets. So now I just put them on gently, and I just put a few more until I can't see it. And when I can't see the hook bait, I'm really happy. And that for me is almost a perfect way. I use that as a little mould so I can gently put it round like that. And all I do, I think that's perfect, because I know all I'm trying to do, the only thing I'm interested in is getting that to the bottom before it breaks up and before the hook bait comes out. I do not want it coming out as it's falling through the water, because I won't get a bite. Like I said, it's the most important thing there is. Then all I'm going to do, I'm going to cast that in, and that's going to go to the bottom. And what I'm looking for now, I'm looking for the water to work in the side, and I'm waiting to break the pellets so you can see they started breaking up and coming now. And to be honest with you, I don't really bothered about how long it takes, because the fish will come in now and it'll start moving at them, and now you can see the working and the breaking, and you can actually see the hook bait now, and all of a sudden the fish will come in, they'll start sucking around, wafting them about, and you can see that all these pellets falling off are all attractors, and you can see that now all of a sudden I can see my hook bait. That's what I'm looking for. But the most important thing, it's sat on top of my bait, and that's what I'm interested in. I want the pellets to fall off, to be seen. You can imagine a fish coming in that and going shh, and they'll move all over the place, but all I can see now is my hook bait, and that's all that I'm interested in. Look, them falling out, and you can see that's working perfect. That's as good as it gets, to be honest with you. I think that's nearly perfect. Everything's soft now. A fish will come in, suck that up in one go, and everything's gone, and you've hooked a fish. I'm so happy now that bait is sat on top of my feeder. That's all I'm looking for. So while that's working, all I'm interested in, I don't care how long it takes, all I'm interested in is getting it to the bottom. Here's one I just prepared a few minutes earlier, and I prepared that for another reason. We've got a different hook bait in that one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lower that in there, and let's see what happens with that one. Because what I've got in that one, I've got one around neon pop-ups, and I'm hoping that that's going to work differently. Whereas the one on this side here now, that's got a bait that doesn't float, it's a sinker, it's a neon sinker, and that'll sit smack on top of the feeder. And this one now, what I'm expecting this to do is when all the pellets have sort of ground, I'm expecting the pop-up to pop up out from the feeder, and you can imagine it popping up and a fish coming in and taking it, intercepting it as it's falling up into the water or coming up into the water. But that one there now, with that sinker on, that's as good as it gets now. You can just imagine a fish seeing that coming in and sucking it all out. So that side's a sinker and this new one's a floater. But you can see now they're all breaking now. What I like about it is it's doing it now, it actually leaves a trail around the feeder, so it almost covers the feeder up. Now let's see if it pops up, see if this hook bait pops up. That's what I'm looking forward to. I can imagine it will. They're all loose now. You can see them working really well. And let's see if it pops up. It'll be quite interesting, this, because I think what I'm interested in is, one is getting the feeder out right, but then getting a bait. There you go. Look, how good's that? How good is that? Now you can imagine that happening, and a fish being around it, seeing it, and snapping straight at it, and you've got it. So you've got two choices. You've got neon sinkers, which is that one, and you've got neon floaters on that one. You can make it do whatever you want. It's a fantastic combination. The fish come in and you've got the best of both worlds, and what you've got to do, try both, work it out, what the fish want. Because at the end of the day, it's not what I want, it's what the fish want. That's what it's all about. But I think that's a great demonstration on how you can change your way of fishing just by simply changing the hook bait. So make sure you try sinking and floating neons, because they do two different things like that, two different ways of attracting fish, and both work.